Welcome to episode 4 of 50 Rein Diary. And everyone, today we're having Mr. Olayemi Olamiju, and he is a marketing director with over a decade of experience working on all kinds of creative campaigns for different brands, different industries that you can imagine. And even recently, he released a playbook for effective real estate advertising, digital advertising. So it is such a pleasure to be having you here. I know that myself and all our realtors, all mavericks on this session are going to be having such a great time. So again, my name is Fola Ajibola, and I will be your host for tonight. So
Nice
do
to
you
meet
have
you, Fola.
nice to meet you as well. All right, so let's dive right into it. I know that the Olayemi Olamiju is a brand on its own. Fifth Element is a brand on its own that we all know. But your name, your personality is a brand on its own. And I wanted you to share that personal branding journey with us. How did you get there? How did you decide that, okay, I want to be a brand on my own. I want to make my name an identity, that should be reckoned with. How did you decide and started that journey?
Um, Thank you so much for the question. So I think there was never necessarily a time where, a lot of people doing great things today sat down and said, oh, I want to build my personal brand. I think what was very, very important for everybody is the ability to say that I want to do great works. And with great works, comes great personal brand. It's just like a byproduct of what you set your life to do. So there was necessarily not the time where it was like, okay, yes, I want to do this is my vision on earth and I want to do it like this. When you identify purpose, I think that's the most important thing. And then you live by it, and then you're working on it day in and day in out. Your personal brand, all of the things that you're using to fuel that vision and the purpose that you're driving on a daily basis begin to speak, and hence the birth of your personal brand. So it's not necessarily, a deliberate effort to say, okay, we're building, but it's a deliberate effort to work and showcase your work while you're doing it.
Amazing. Okay. I think that is very true because, like you said, it's like an automatic byproduct. There are so many successful people that don't even have maybe like social media presence, but we know their names, right? And we know about them, we hear about their work. So I agree that
Exactly.
it could be a byproduct. So how was your personal brand conceived? And like, we've already spoken about the conceiving of your personal brand because
Yeah.
you've
Based on
mentioned exactly. But how would you say it has contributed to your success? Because there are some things we see online, right? But I know there are so many things we don't see online as well. So how would you say that this personal brand has contributed to the success of your career?
Yeah, so I think the most important thing and one of the goal of any personal branding is so that you are remembered, right?
Mm,
So there are three R's, right? You are recognized, you're remembered, and then you're reverend in such a way that if anybody has anything to do in your industry, you're automatically recognized, you're automatically remembered, and then, people can vouch for you. I think that's the most important thing, and that's the biggest goal with personal branding. So with that, it brings trust, it brings every other thing, it's like, when you are able to conquer these three steps, have people recognize you, have people remember you, you're able to say that work just keep, coming along. So those are,
amazing.
some things that you're able to get once you build your personal brand to a particular level, that when anybody's thinking real estate, oh, I want to sell a particular property, someone's name comes to mind because I remember that they've told me about the fact that they sell, or I've encountered the content where, they told me, they sell real estate and all of that, even in such a way that people can say, okay, no, it's land I want to buy. And your name automatically is the one being remembered because that's, what you specify. And that's what you've been, been able to get people to recognize you for.
Mhm. That does make a lot of sense. So you've mentioned how we can bring more work. So we're talking about more clients, right? I think we could also mention like speaking engagements, partnerships and collaborations. Yeah, right?
Most definitely.
Awesome. Thank you very much for sharing that, because I know that a lot of people do not see the importance, because until you become that big name, you may have to do a lot to propel yourself in that direction. So I know that, yes, there's definitely, the huge impact that personal branding can have, on an individual's career. Now, narrowing it down to real estate, like you mentioned, how you want to be the one remembered when someone wants to sell their multi-million property.
Mhm.
So, what do you think are the first steps a realtor should consider when they want to set up their personal brand? Like someone who doesn't have any idea on how to go about this, what are the first steps you think they should consider when setting up their personal brand?
The first step any realtor must consider is the ability to be able to assess themselves or identify their full potential, right? One of the most important words that we've repeated while saying personal branding is personal. So that means that the entirety about personal branding or everything around it is the fact that it is personal, it is to you. Your personal brand belongs to you. You're the one directing it, you're the one navigating it. So you need to understand your full potential. You need to know your strength, your weakness, your opportunity. Just do a full SWOT analysis about yourself in such a way that when people even bring one offer and you look at it and say, it does not align with even my personality to start with, before we now even talk about your branding, which are your core values. So of course, the
Yeah.
first thing you need to understand is themselves. You need to be able to assess yourself and authenticate yourself. Even the Bible says, do not, it's impossible to lie to yourself amongst everything that is happening in life. So it's important to know yourself fully with a very strong and effective sort of analysis. And then you can now use this knowledge of self to develop what we refer to as your values, which is the next thing after identifying, your personality. You now
Mm.
identify your values. What are your values? What do you stand for? What does this personality stand for? What can this personality, chest, at any
Yeah.
time, even in any business, with anything that is happening, all of these things you put together are the most important thing you do when you're trying to develop your personal brand to, develop yourself.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that, because on the last episode, we had a real estate consultant on 50 Rain Diary, and she's someone with a strong personal brand. And, just like everything you said about values and personality, this is something that she really embodied. And like her core brand messaging was sustainable cities, how we can build sustainable cities, how we can grow sustainable cities. So I definitely agree that your personality and your values must shine through. Now that we've spoken about the core, what aspects of personal branding do you think realtors often overlook that you think they should be focusing on?
I think one of the most important aspects of personal branding that I've seen there is a huge gap even in the industry at large is
Yeah.
trust, right?
Mhm.
Trust, I think, is the most important currency when it comes to any business. If people don't trust you, they cannot give you money. If people don't trust you, they cannot do business with you. So your entire
Absolutely.
goal or your entire journey of personal branding is to be able to eradicate the questions around trust. Like I said, you're recognized, right?
Yeah.
Then you're remembered. But when they remember you, do they reference you? Like, did they say good about you? That's what that means, right? So you must be able to build trust in such a way that you're able to, get people to, you know, you can create positive impact in people's life, and people can testify. People can say, oh yes, oh, we know that guy, so that's one thing I think that people, because at the end of the day, when it comes to the real estate industry, there are a lot of money out there where people are looking for who they trust to give it to help them execute one project and all of that, right? So the trust gap is, a really big gap in the real estate. And of course, you won't even blame, the clients or the consumers, because they've been burnt over and over, with everything happening in the real estate,
Yeah.
ecosystem. So trust, I think, is something that most realtors ignore. And I think that's the most important currency for building a personal brand around the real estate industry.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I know you have up to a decade of experience in this industry, right? So I'm going to have to lean into that to ask you that we have spoken about trust now and how it is such an important currency to continue to grow your personal brand and attract the right and gain the right kind of influence. So what strategies do you think that realtors can use to gain trust through their personal brand? What strategies, what tactics do you think they can use to gain trust?
Uh, So one of the most important strategy, I would share one because I believe that is the foundation for every other strategy, right? There is, strategy of always creating content, the strategy of always, being in people's face, the strategy of wearing only white shirts or saying wearing white and like Tony Elumelu, wearing white and red tie. There are a lot of, tactics that people employ when it comes to, saying that they're building their personal brand. But one of the most important that I think that people ignore a lot is there's the part of documenting your life, right? I believe that one of the most important thing when it comes to personal branding is the fact that people can witness life with you. People can witness, your daily activities. If you live your life for 1 month and just document when you wake up, what you did that day, how you went out, either in the, I think the most important form now is the video form. You do this on a video on a day-to-day basis. Trust me, if you put this out there, there will be somebody that your story just inspires them. Your story, changes their life. Your story touches them, or your story even reminds them about their younger self, right? So when we document our story, we're able to share our story to the world, and we're able to use that power of storytelling to be able to get people to, recognize, and be able to remember us, and of course, trust us in, the real estate sector. So yes, amplifying our story is the most important thing. And then to do that effectively, it is important to document your journey, document your daily activities. I think this is greater than creating content, just having camera in front of you and then you're talking about one particular thing. I think beyond that, a lot of people do that. I think beyond that, a lot of people just need to document a day in their life for a very consistent long while. Don't stop doing it. Do it every time. Don't take a break. Do it every time. Post it. Share your story, and a lot of people feel connected to it, and you'll be able to use that to build your personal brand.
Amazing. That's powerful. The ability to be able to connect with your audience is truly powerful. I know I was in a conversation the other day and we were talking about influence and true influence. Okay, so influence is you have, tons of followers and, you're getting partnerships and collaborations, posting all these things online and asking them to buy. But are they actually buying or are you just racking up the views? True influence would mean, like just you have said, that you have connected with them based on your personality. They will take your word for it and they will purchase, whatever your partners are selling. And that is true influence. The ability to convert your online influence to real life influence. So thank you so much for sharing that. What do you think about review management, maybe, talking about your success stories on sales and clients? What do you think about that in terms of also growing trust for personal brand in real
I mean, I
estate?
think I think everybody would agree with me that the best form of marketing is word of mouth. When I tell somebody about how I bought something from you and then my experience with you, and I think that's why beyond there's a popular saying that say people will not remember what you said to them, but they remember how you made them feel, right? Beyond any transaction we do as a company, not as an individual, the experience we take our client to is our most important marketing strategy, is our most
Yeah.
important part of branding strategy, right? The experience we take them through. Because when people experience something new, and it doesn't even have to be grandeur, it doesn't have to be, sophisticated. It has been as simple as possible. It has been everybody's doing A, just do Z. Everybody's, taking people to sites physically. Why don't we, you do maybe just do something different that differentiates you from, other people in the industry. If we're able to achieve this, we're able to, use this tool to, tell people our story and maximize, that.
Amazing. Thank you very much for sharing that. Speaking of tools, I have to ask you, I mean, we all love your content, from the planning to the execution. I know the amount of work that goes into that. I can see and I can tell. So if you don't mind, would like to share with us the tools you use, like for your personal brand, like for creating the content that you use to establish your personal brand, like maybe the video editing tools, the content creation tools, maybe your research tools as well, just to empower all the realtors on this live session, on this diary session.
Yeah, speaking about research, I think research is very important. So I use a platform called Ask the Public. Because I think I posted a video recently earlier today where I was saying that the most important tool when it comes to marketing is to understand the audience, like, right? And to do that, you to, as frequently as possible, communicate with the audience. Even if you don't find, yes, your target audience is you want to sell real estate to the Dangotes, why don't you find the next, set of Dangotes coming and you're able to communicate to them to know what they want, how they feel, how they react to different situations, right? So one of the most important is Ask the Public, www.askthepublic.com. If you put any topic on that platform, it just gives you questions millions of people are asking around that particular topic, right? So it could be around real estate, it could be around land banking, but just put any keyword and then it finds question. And then you're able to now use this question to create content like, answering people because, that's what tells you that people are actually asking these questions, right? So you're able to use that to
Yeah.
create content. I believe there are a lot of AI tools today that are able to, help us, create easy. Everybody in this generation should be excited because I can imagine, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, when you want to write and you have to write everything from scratch. But with the advent of, AI tools like ChatGPT, we've been able to do that easily.
Yeah.
So of course, there's no, when it comes to communication, I don't see why anybody is not using, AI to enhance their communication. Because I mean, I think
Absolutely.
that's the important thing. And of course, there's InShot to also edit, phone videos. Most of these comedy skits that we see, most of them are not even sophisticated with, shot with camera, phone videos. And, most people have, a very good these days. So it's a quantity over quality game. Stop waiting to have the best tool. Stop waiting to have the most sophisticated tool to say that you want to create content. It's the more content you create, the better you get at creating content. If I was watching a video where Ed Sheeran said before he got to where he used to be as a songwriter, it took like 5 years. He was writing at least one song every day in such a way that you're able to do that so well that you train the muscles that it needs to develop on whether it's content creation you're doing, whether it's even sales you're trying to learn and all of that. It's important to do it multiple times on a daily basis. And then in just a few years, we just see ourselves reaping the results of that.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thanks so much for sharing those tools. We have taken note of them and our community is excited as well. So now let's speak about personality types and what you have to say to people who are shy, because there's a lot of people who say, oh, they can be their personal brand because they're so shy, they're not comfortable in front of the camera. I want you to first of all tell us about your personality type. Would you say you're a shy person? Did you have to overcome any of that, to build your brand consistently, to show up consistently, just like you just said about, building up efforts? So what would you say about your personality type? And what do you also have to say to people who say they are shy and they cannot do all of that?
So I would say that a lot of people are shy, even most of the celebrities that you see, everybody. I don't think everybody is excluded from that shy narrative. But of course, there are a lot of people that it goes deeper for. And I'll borrow from the theory of Tim Lear. If anybody has read why you act the way you do, that talks about the 4 different personality type, the melancholy, the sanguine, the choleric, and the phlegmatic, right? Taking from there, we know that phlegmatic and the melancholy are really drawn to themselves. But you would agree with me that there's always a balance. most of the time when these figmatic find somewhere or, something they're very, very comfortable with, they go all out, right? So I think the most important thing is for us to now, like I said, from the very beginning, the most important thing in personal branding is to take that personal serious. It's about you. So we need to be able to know ourselves, study ourselves well enough to say, okay, which one is my personality, which is secondary, because most people has primary and then they have secondary. A phlegmatic that is really shy would still have a time in their life or in their emotion where they can go all choleric or, go all excited, maybe when they're comfortable with something or when they're comfortable with someone. Everybody has, two personality type, primary and the secondary. So it's important that, to grow your personal brand, grow yourself, it's important that you're able to leverage these two personal type, turn on one when you need to, turn off the other when you need to. If it's time for rest, if it's time to be inside, go back, run inside and lock everybody out. But, at the other, you need to go outside again and then, communicate with people, connect with people, meet people and experience people. But, don't take away your personal time. Make sure you leverage, so the summary of it is just know yourself and be able to maximize, the best of both worlds wherever you find yourself, whether you're choleric, whether you're, melancholy, whether you're phlegmatic, or whether you're outgoing, when it comes to your personality type.
Amazing. Thank you so, so much for sharing that. And, like you said, you have to find what works for you. Like, personally, I'm not much of an extrovert myself. I also do not fancy attention from the camera. But, that's why we have other platforms like LinkedIn and Twitter that's not so based on visuals, right?
Yeah.
You can leverage those other platforms based on your strength. So thank you so much for sharing that. Now, for realtors, we've spoken about values, and I wanted you to share what are the key traits that you think a realtor's personal brand should have to be able to attract the right clients. What do you think their personal brand must communicate as a realtor to be able to attract the right clients?
So there's a formula that we use. The formula is 2ABC, right? Two and then in brackets ABC. And we started with one. So the formula is very simple, right? The first one is assessment. Like we said, assess yourself, know yourself. And then the second the first A is assessment, and then the second A is authenticity, right? Be authentic to yourself, be true to yourself. And then we'll go to the next level, which is the B. First, as a realtor, you have to believe. You have to believe in your own capacity to, close a deal. You have to believe, because people can see when you don't even believe in yourself. People can see when you don't even believe in a particular property that you're selling. People can see when you don't, this thing, the paper, not to, people can see it. So you have to believe in whatever you're selling, in whatever you're doing, in whatever offer that you're giving people. You have to believe that this is the best offer you can get anywhere. If you go to
Like
any
Ola or
other,
Lagos.
exact, like you are, it's like it is what it is. So whatever you're selling, you yourself have to first believe it, because people can read it right from yourself. So when you believe, then the second B is boldness. You now have to have boldness in delivering whatever you need to deliver. When you've been paid for a particular thing, you need to go all out and get it done with boldness. Anything is wrong, you just people can exhume the fact that people can see that you exhume boldness when you authenticate. And then the C is credibility. Of course, you have to build credibility with your name. You have to make sure that the trust gap, people can trust you with their money. And then the last and the most important, because people can go through this entire session and then go through the entire circle and then they are not consistent. So the second C is consistent. You need to be consistent when it comes to, going through this circle, believing in yourself, giving boldness. Just be consistent, showing up every day. If you show up to any conversation, any deal, any network center, any meeting, trust me, you've done 60% of the work by just showing up. So being consistent, I think, is the last and most important tool everybody needs to take to follow the personal branding guide. There's a book that I'm reading in line with that. It was written by one of my mentors, Mr. Lampe. It's Brand or Be Bland. So I think anybody that wants to take personal branding.
Yes, I follow him on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Oh, really? Awesome. You follow him on LinkedIn, exactly.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
need to read this book if you want to go deep in personal branding. It explains the formula well and is able to, get you just a lot of workbook that you can just fill in the form and then you're able to just execute.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. And since we're already dropping names, because I was going to ask you that, um, who are the who are some realtors on on your radar that you think they are doing very well in terms of personal branding that you think our community, should look out from or that they can learn from? Or who are the names rather that you just think that they should, draw from? Because they say standing on the shoulder of giants can help you see
But
further than you would ordinarily. So please share with us those names.
there are a lot of realtors. I mean, not just realtors, real estate mogul building their personal brand, being the next Tony Elumelu of the real estate industry. Some of them are, I think, Nola Aditola. You have also Bright Sekoni of Audacia, and then Ayo Akintikpe of Ace Real Estate. I think these are people that are building and doing great stuff when it comes to they're the future, right? The future of real estate already.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. And in terms of differentiation, right, I'm standing out because truly we're in that era of content. Like content is king. And
Yeah.
now it's slowly evolving to video, how video is becoming king now. But in this era where the personal branding message is it's widely preached, how do you think that realtors or mavericks, our community, how do you think that they can stand out in this market?
So when it comes to creating content, I did mention earlier that it's not negotiable, right? Well, it's not easy, it's difficult, but creating content is not negotiable. It's the only tool that is really affordable that anybody has now that can use it as an advantage in the industry, right? So when it comes to that, it's important to document even more than create, document content. And there are different type of content. It doesn't even necessarily have to be video content. You can up on Canva and then just create some graphics content. Guess what? You can do voice over and have a graphics, just a normal graphics to it, and then post it. So I don't think there's a limit to what content can be now in such a way that with whatever you have, with whatever device you have, you can start to use it to, yes, your face will not show in the audio, but your voice will be known, right? Which is part of, everybody's sense. They can hear it even if they cannot see it. So you can create content with anything, just the audio, just the video, just documenting, or just even text, or just Canva or WhatsApp story. You're texting different. The most important thing is creating is non-negotiable. You have to create.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I know that in this conversation, you've spoken about how important it is to show up. And this is all tied into creating. You have to create, you have to stay consistent, stay innovative. Now let's look back at your journey, right, in your career and even in building your personal brand. Is there anything you feel you would have done differently that could have maybe made your journey perhaps a little bit faster or maybe a little bit easier, if that's a thing?
Of course it is. I think when you started asking the question, I was like, oh, nothing. But while you were running up, I remember that one of the things I thought about recently is the fact that as young lads, we take time to take our life serious, right? We take time to take our life serious. I think that's one of the things that I would, change. That means taking life serious or taking work serious or taking whatever you're doing with yourself serious early enough, right? Sometimes, oh yes, we know we want to do real estate. We know we want to do this thing, but I will join next year. I would, all of those narratives. We as young people, we tend to take time to execute. We tend to take time to get serious with our destiny, get serious with our life, get serious with even spirituality, get serious with everything we do. I think that's one of the things that I think I would, you know, get serious earlier. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. That is a call to purpose, guys. I hope you're all taking notes. That is a serious call to purpose and paying attention. So, the next question is that, in your opinion, for real estate professionals, do you really think that a personal brand is important? Do you think it is non-negotiable, or do you think it can be done without? Hello, sir. Are you there? Hi, Mr. Olaimi. Okay, I think our speaker just left the call. He's facing some technical difficulties, but he will be back shortly. So how are we doing? I hope we are taking notes and enjoying the session so far. If you have any questions, ensure to leave them in the comment section. I will be asking the speaker shortly. So whatever it is you want to know, ask. He will be gracious to give us all the details, right? Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. Hi, Henry. Hi, Basit. Hi, Tosin, Timilei. Hi, joining us. Hi, Charity. Hi, Wesley. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. We'll be waiting for our speaker to join back shortly. So stay tuned. We still have so many important things to cover.
Can you hear me?
He's back. Yes, I can hear you.
All
Welcome
right.
back. I cannot see you though. Okay, great. I can see you again. Okay. All right. So we're talking about how important you think it is for real estate professionals to build a personal brand. Is it something they can do without? Is it something they can do in secret? No need for public branding.
Yeah, and I did establish that it's a non-negotiable right now. It's a non-negotiable. There is a lagging gap with the people who want to invest in real estate, and then the trust gap, right? So personal branding is the only tool we can use to bridge this trust gap for people in real estate. So gone are the days where people want to give big companies their money. They want to know who the CEO is now. They want to know your lifestyle. They want to wage you. They want to know even down to how spiritual you are as a person. Because I mean, it's a lot of things, right? So yeah, I think personal brand is not a negotiable. It is the most important. It's your urge. It's the only tool you have to, getting into the market now and getting ahead.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. And now that you've spoken about how non-negotiable it is, I know that even in your journey, you must have faced many hurdles, right? Many challenges. Maybe some days you decide you want to shoot a video today, and that is the day your phone decides to act up or something, or one event just comes and mess up your whole schedule. So in this journey, what are some of the challenges you say you faced, and how did you overcome them?
Um, so honestly, I'm thinking about challenges now, and I think my approach to challenges are different. First off, I for large reasons do not even recognize them, right? So whatever is happening per day, I feel like when there is a will, there is a way. If something is important to you, you will get it done. When stuff tries to tramples your plan, you can reschedule, you can fix it again, you can, as long as it's important. So my approach to challenges is, this is happening for a reason, but this one I want to get done. Whatever the journey to getting done is, I can change the plan, but do not change the goal. So if you want to shoot the day and then something went wrong that day, you shoot the next day. And if something goes wrong again, you fix it again until you get it done. So I think the approach is, the willingness is the most important thing. If you're willing to do something, challenges will come and then you would not even recognize it, or it will not even be strong enough to stop you from achieving whatever goal what you're setting for yourself.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now let's talk about how, your consistency in building your personal brand and how it has grown and evolved. Let's talk about how that has an effect on your business. Did your personal brand have any effect on your business, which is fifth element, your marketing, the marketing agency which you lead? Do you think that there was any snowball effect there? Did it affect it maybe positively or negatively?
Um, so there is a popular question that people say that, and if you check UBA following on Instagram, I don't think they have up to 1 million followers. But if you check Tony Elumelu's following, he has over 1 million followers. Now, what does that mean for his business? It means that, Tony UBA may want to do something. I'm sure UBA has more than 1 million subscribers. But I'm sure when they want to, announce something, Tony Elumelu can do that on behalf of the company in such a way that it gets to 1 million people faster than normal, even beyond, spending money on doing campaign. So yes, your personal brand will gather to you more audience than, even your business brand. And in such a way that this audience gets to know about your business, about your offer, and they can engage to do business with you. So yes, of course, your personal brand helps in uh, giving you more property to sell, more clients to sell to.
Exactly. Thank you so much for sharing that, because I know some people are always thinking that what is the actual benefit? Is it just for popularity? Does it convert? It does convert, Mavericks, it does convert. So do not sleep on your personal brand. Now, final words. What would you what advice would you give to anyone who's, looking to build their personal brand, who even hasn't made up their mind yet to say, this is a hill I'm willing to die on. I'm going to build this personal brand. It is something I want to do. But maybe a word from you, would help them make that final decision and take that step. So please.
Um, so like I've established, right? Building personal brand is non-negotiable. And if you are waiting for something to propel you to building your personal brand, just know that there's somebody out there that does not have your wealth of experience. It does not have your wealth of knowledge. It does not have your wealth of access. It does not even have, no, it does not have your wealth of knowledge. It does not have your wealth of experience. It does not have your wealth of, in terms of products, but he has access in such a way that he's collecting the money that you're supposed to be collecting because he knows the people giving out those money. He doesn't have the land, he doesn't have the property, he doesn't have the level of experience that you have, but he's cashing out. So you are leaving money on the table if you are not building your personal brand. When you are ready to stop losing money, you would
Yeah.
focus and start building your personal brand.
Personal brand. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's been great having you on this conversation. And on that note, I must say that some people are waiting until they have maybe the latest iPhone 15 before they start to take pictures, take videos. Our guest has already said it. You can start with design, start with carousels, write insights on designs and posts. You can add a voiceover. You don't need to have a perfect aesthetic, before you get started. So don't let nothing stop you. Don't let nothing get in your way. You are leaving money on the table, as he said. So don't sleep on it. Thank you so much, Mr. Olayemi. It's been so great having you on this diary session. I hope
Thank
we
you.
can have you sometime again, if not on diary session, on another program. It's been fun talking to you, and I can't wait for all the amazing things our community and our Mavericks are going to do from this very impactful conversation.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much, and have a lovely night.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. Our community is saying good night.
Bye. Good night.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye, sir. Thank you, Mavericks, for joining us. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of this call. If you're not on our community yet, check the comment section or check our bio. You will find a link, and don't forget to subscribe on the YouTube channel. Now, once you join the community, let me know what you learned and what is your key takeaway from this session, and when you will be starting to put out content. And if you've already started, keep it up. So it's a wrap from here. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good night rest. See you at the next session. Bye.